So, hi everyone, I am Shalu. Today we are going to have a discussion with Piyush Gupta, who is doing his PhD at University of Freiburg. So, thank you, Piyush, for accepting this invitation, and we are glad to have you here. So, you can introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to have this interview session with you and to share my journey on this GRAP initiative, what you have started. So yeah, as you mentioned that I'm a PhD student at University of Freiburg, Germany, and I also share my PhD journey and do a little bit of science communication over Instagram and social media, other social media platforms. So it's named as Science with Piyush, but yeah, generally it's more of PhD journey in in Germany, you can say. Yeah, and I'm also like working with C. elegans. It's a small nematode worm, and that's my model organism where I'm trying to find out mechanism behind hibernation. So yeah.
I was about to ask you your PhD topic. You can explain in bit detail if you want to. Like, what
Uh,
exactly you are going to, what is the purpose of this project?
yeah, so I mean, because of the confidential research, I cannot
Right.
share everything,
Okay.
but maybe just as a kind of in simple words, I can say that so I'm basically working or trying to find out the mechanism behind hibernation, how C. elegans, which is a worm, and why we are using worm because most of genes which are there present in worms are conserved to humans as well. So we are targeting certain pathway, like signaling pathway, which are conserved in human as well. So we cannot directly work on human, like putting humans on hibernation also, but we
Right.
can do with these animal models. So we are trying to understand that how we can solve this problem because the thing is, you can put human on hibernation, but only problem is when they will exit from hibernation phase, there will be a lot of cellular damage, let's say brain hemorrhage or cardiac arrest or things like that. So many disorders or yeah, so many cellular damage occurs. So we are trying to understand that what are the mechanisms which are, let's say, shooting up or which signaling pathways, quite, let's say, highly upregulated, which is acting as a kind of toxic in this recovery from hibernation phase. So not the hibernation itself, because in that hibernation phase, human or any organism is like not moving, and they're like in suspended animation. So they have slow metabolism and all, let's say, transcription or all biological processes slows down. So it's not that harmful during that period. I mean,
Okay.
there are some certain consequences which can occur, for example, especially in human. So there are many things which has to be considered. For example, like food source, you need a continuous food source as well as removal of fecal matter, waste, and all these things. So, and like there are many things which has to be considered, and
Yeah.
still research is going on. And yeah, we are just trying to give an insight on that, like how we can focus on the recovery of these hibernation.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a very random question. Like, do you believe in time machines and sci-fi and everything?
Uh, I don't, but it's interesting. It's quite interesting. But the thing is, if you let's say talk about in logical sense, then probably it's kind of impossible to like go back to time or let's say in future. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. If it is possible, or if it can be possible, then yeah, for sure,
I
it's
was just
nice.
relating this question to, do you think humans can hibernate like any time in the future for 6 months or let's say for 3 months? Is it possible? Like,
Good question. Actually, it is not possible yet to put humans on hibernation, or we cannot use this process. But maybe in future we can introduce this because there are certain indications from some mammals which go into hibernation. For so very like very
yeah,
simple example is this grizzling bear. You might have
yeah,
heard that they go into hibernation for 6 months.
yeah,
But during this observation, like researchers have observed that they are like not totally in hibernation. So the thing is, what happens in actual hibernation that your body temperature goes down a lot lower. So for example, for humans, it's 37 degrees Celsius. So if you're putting humans to lower temperature, then they go into hypothermia phase, which is toxic, not good for human health. So, but you can decrease this temperature to 10 degree, which is still near to hypothermia, but still it can be, how to say, maintained. And doctors have like using this process for brain hemorrhage or operating where let's say you want to have a functional brain. Yeah, so it's more of like you have to operate the brain, but you want to have a blood flow in a whole organ. So what doctors do is they put humans or let's say patients on a uh, capsule, you can say, which is cooling down the body temperature so that your heart rate is quite down. So this pumping rate of your heart is quite low, so that you can get all your organs could get the blood supply or nutrient, and during that time period, doctors can operate the brain. So it is possible, but it's only for like few minutes or few hours. So it is also another indication that yes, we can extend this time period if we know all this what changes are happening during this low temperature phase.
Yeah, you know what? From there, I got a thought of when saints used to go in like on their, what do we call it in English or even in Hindi? I'm not getting that word.
Uh,
Uh,
in science fiction movies, you mean what they have shown?
In
No.
India, there are like sadhus and saints are recognized for their
Okay.
what they go in. Like in Hindi, also, I'm not getting that word.
Oh, yeah, I also forgot.
They do something, right?
Yeah. Like a kind of deep meditation, you can say.
Deep meditation. Yeah, exactly. Deep
Yeah,
meditation is the right word.
yeah,
And they don't
yeah.
eat or stand anything for
No.
days. How they do
Yeah.
this is kind of hibernation for me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's also a good indication. Yeah, it's a good example of what you mentioned. So if these old these monks are monks are since they were going on this deep, not hibernation but deep meditation phase, which is
Meditation.
equal to hibernation, you can say. So yeah, it's interesting. We can also use this data as well, or maybe you can we can do experiments with that. Yeah, it is
Exactly.
possible, maybe. Yeah. So one
Yeah.
day it will be possible that we can send human on hibernation.
Exactly. So, like, I'm literally fan of you and other people who manage social media and everything with PhD. So, do you do meditation or yoga or anything for your mental health?
I used to do actually, but not regularly. So it's really nice because you get nice peaceful time, and also it's quite beneficial for your mental health. But one thing you have to understand, that what is meditation in your terms. So it's not only like sitting in a like kind of, let's say, closed room in dark or so. Meditation can be anything. Like you have to focus on certain things. So let's say if you're taking shower, you enjoy your shower and you are focusing on that, then yes, that means it is also part of meditation. If you're having food and not like scrolling through Instagram and only focusing on your food and enjoying that meal, then that's also kind of a meditation.
Shower should definitely be meditation for people, specifically students. They don't take shower
At least,
usually.
yeah, maybe some students who are like busy with their coursework and have hectic, let's say, schedule, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I do get time for
Yeah.
these general purposes.
So when I was researching about your profile, I was reading your LinkedIn like thoroughly. So I read there that in your projects, you have done experiment on mice,
Yeah.
flies, and fishes, and it seems really interesting. So like in very short, can you tell what do you used to do? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, it was quite diverse because that time I was trying to also figure it out that in which area is like good for me, or where I can be a good fit. Because see, PhD is a long journey,
yeah,
and you don't want to enter in certain field where you realize after a certain amount of time that working after 6 months or 1 year that it's not good fit for you, and then you get frustrated. So I was aware of this. So I was just trying to figure it out. But yeah, in a specific field, but using different model organisms, as you mentioned. That first I started with mice. So I was working on virology, so using mice and like injecting virus on their tail vein to like kind of see the consequences of this virus effect. Yeah, not only in terms of the morphology or phenotype, but on the level of gene. Yeah, and then I was using fish for some epidemiological study, like because in India, there are people who are using antibiotics a lot, not only for like humans but also for animals, like in poultry or fishery
oh, I
sector,
didn't know about
especially.
it.
Yeah, in agriculture. I mean, I was also not aware when I was doing this epidemiological study. Then I got to know that because see, farmers in India, they are not that much, let's say, aware of these things or educated about these things. So they are using and like misusing, you can say.
Yeah,
So that leads to resistant to certain antibiotics, and you might have seen that some antibiotics are not doesn't work in some patients. So they either have to increase the dose or give many other combination of antibiotics, and
exactly.
that
Depends
leads
person to
to,
person.
yeah, and at the end that leads to a kind of antibiotic resistance, and it is a nice topic. I was going to make a podcast on this or a content. It's a silent pandemic. So I mean, I don't know if I just named it. I don't know if you Google and find it. I don't. I'm not aware of it. but it is a silent pandemic because of this misuse of antibiotics.
Cool.
So I was just doing epidemiological study and found out that people are misusing. And then I moved to Hungary for my internship, a research internship before PhD. And there I was using flies, Drosophila, for some other genetic works. And then now I'm working with C. elegans.
Yeah. Also, I guess you are also founder of STEM Club.
Yes. Actually, during this COVID time period, so there was a lot of misinformation going around about COVID itself and also vaccination and all these things. And being a scientist or science enthusiast, you feel like, okay, you should do something to like kind of provide knowledge or at least aware people about these things. So we started this STEM club together with two PhD students, including me, and two others were like postdoc in other universities. And we already knew each other from Hungary. When I was in Hungary, we were like not in same lab but in same institute, and we used to organize it in offline. We called it as bio gathering. So we're like group of researchers, PhD student, who were like going to some cafe or so and discussing about current research things.
Sure.
But we stopped that. I mean, in 2019. But COVID happened, and we got opportunity that we can use social media for this science communication thing. So that's how we started this STEM club, where we hosted people from different background, not only in biology but in other fields as well, like physics, chemistry, or mathematics. So all field, to get to know a little bit about what they are doing, research part, as well as about their journey in science, so that it can be as an inspiration for aspirants who want to pursue for, let's say, higher education or wanted to do research.
So basically, you used to write blogs or like blogs on it or make a blog on it. What type of content you used to share?
So we used to do Instagram live session.
Oh, cool.
So if you'll go to my Instagram, so you will find a section where it's written the STEM Club, and you will find all these videos where we have this interview session. So like live interview session. Yeah. So that's what it was. But lately it's been kind of, it's been quite long that we haven't done this interview sessions because
Doing hibernation. It's okay, it will come back.
Yeah, sure.
But COVID like brought revolution for social media platforms, I think. It's like changed everything. Now everybody's content creator, I would say.
Yeah. Indeed. Especially in India. Yeah, you will see.
Yeah.
But we need more of like researchers or people from science background to be on these social media platforms. Because why? I mean, we avoid this. I was also avoiding this. I never used Instagram before COVID. Like, I started my account in November 2020. So it's recent, And so I was avoiding all these things. But then I thought, no, we have to aware, because youngsters, especially in India, they need to be aware of other things as well, like research or science, because somehow they are lacking these basic things. And also, I think not many people are nowadays interested towards, let's say, science or how to say, you can say a research thing, because they are mainly, and especially because of COVID, because they were doing everything online and not in this Zoom meeting, Zoom classes or so. They were just joining and doing some other stuff. So they were not like concentrated on certain things. So I think it's good to share some useful information, or how to say, not only informative things, but also scientific things, which can make them interesting. That, okay, it is interesting and maybe they should also pursue.
Exactly. So let's go to the bit past in the school life. So in 9th, 10th, when we were in 9th, 10th, we used to be very confused. Now what's next? Like science, commerce, or humanities. So were you sure in like 9th or 10th standard? Because few students are really sure.
Yeah.
Like, and now foundation courses get started in 9th, right? For and everything. Thank God didn't push me for all of that. But were you sure in 9th and 10th?
Actually, so it all started from my high school, from class 10, after 10th. So, I mean, during 10th, not after 10th, like before boards exam. So I don't know if you are aware of this National Science Congress, science competition.
I've been a part of it.
Oh,
been there, like I used to go there from 7th to 11th. In 12th, I fell sick badly. So I was unable to join that. I've been there for years.
Okay. So I participated in that in my 10th. Just did some small work. and got selected on district level, then state level, and for national level. But
Wow.
unfortunately, did
So
not
good.
qualify national level because I mean, it was just out of like curiosity that okay, let's participate and let's see what happens. Then I got interested in more like when I was involved in these projects. And one more thing was there that time that person who were like or groups who were qualifying this national level, they had chance to meet Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Oh, I know
And
that. I think
yeah,
I know this year because I was a
yeah,
part of that project, but only
okay,
one person got had to go there to
yeah, yeah,
present, right?
yeah.
And I guess I was in eighth standard. Yeah, I'm sure I was in eighth standard, and my project also went there. Oh wow,
Okay.
this
Yeah,
is
so
so cool.
that's how I mean I got more into that. That okay, he was like inspiration for everyone,
True.
and from his journey, I got inspired, and I was like, okay, if it is the chance to meet him and ask questions, then I will ask a lot of questions to him. And I prepared whole questions, but I didn't know that I will not get selected because I was so optimistic about that. And yeah, I was kind of, let's say, not overconfident, but yeah,
Yeah,
did not prepare well.
got
Yeah, but at least it was a good experience because from there I got motivation to do PhD because that time I didn't know that what is PhD and how long it takes to get into PhD. So I was like, okay, I will complete my studies after 12th. I will do my PhD,
Oh my
and I
God,
didn't know.
you knew it from like earlier.
Yeah, from my 10th already, I knew that I have to, but I didn't know that it is a long process that you have to do bachelor's, master's, and then you have to enter into PhD. I was like, okay, yeah, after finishing this school, I will jump into PhD. But
Dr.
yeah,
APJ Abdul Kalam is great. I've read his book Wings
yeah.
of Fire. And
Oh, it's wonderful. It's
yeah,
wonderful. Yeah.
he has
People
what?
who
Yeah, what?
don't,
Sorry.
I was just saying that people who don't have, let's say, much time to read it, there is an audiobook as well on YouTube. So they can just search, let's say, Wings of Fire and they will find it's wonderful narration.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got interested in science. And
So in science, like medical as well as non-medical stream, right? So
uh,
what did you choose in 11th? You're from Lucknow, right?
no, I'm from Ghazipur. It's a small
Oh,
city near Varanasi,
oh, sorry. I
Banaras.
read somewhere
Yeah.
Lucknow. Sorry.
Lucknow, I mean, I did my all bachelor's and masters, and I
Okay.
stayed there after masters as well in Lucknow. So
Okay.
Lucknow is like my second home, you can say. Yeah. So yeah, the science in 11th actually I chose biology because I was interested in biology a little bit. And other thing was I was more of like this way that okay, if I will give exam like NEET and this other medical exams, then okay, I will go in this direction. Otherwise, if not, so I had always this B plan. So the B plan was to like do maybe bachelor's in biotech and
Wow.
from in my 11th when I jumped into biology course, then I got into like okay, biotech is a certain field, which is a narrow field because biology is like a broad field,
Hmm.
and you can go in biotechnology, do bachelor's or master's. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good option because either I can go in medical field or if not, then at least there is another option. So yeah, that's how I got into, and my maths works was a little bit weak in my 10th.
Very
So
like
that's
very interesting personality because you knew already. I didn't know anything, man. In 12th, in bachelor's also, I was confused what to do next.
yeah,
If
I
I
mean, I was,
love
I,
maths.
I was aware of that, but the thing is, still there was like a lack of information.
Yeah,
So the process got delayed. So, but still, it's better. I mean, it was good experience.
yeah, exactly. So like biology is also divided into zoology and botany, I think, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
many other fields, maybe.
yeah.
So what did you choose in your bachelor's?
I chose biotechnology,
Okay.
BSc biotechnology. Yeah, and
In
then
master's also?
no, in masters I got interested in microbiology.
Oh,
So, so when I was doing my bachelor thesis, it was more of like working with bacteria and synthesizing nanoparticles, like silver nanoparticles from E. coli, using E. coli. So E. coli is a bacteria.
yeah,
So
we have heard about it a lot.
okay, okay. Yeah. So yeah, then I got interested that okay, yeah, microbiology is a cool field. You can do many stuff, and then also like after doing all this research, that I got to know that okay, there are job options as well in microbiology. If let's say if you want to go for PhD, then also it's good. Or if not, then there are job opportunities as well, like quality control in pharma industry or in food industry. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's give it a try. If it is interesting, then I will pursue this. And there was also one option in our university that if you don't like it, well, let's say for the first semester, within 3 months you can change
In
it to other like
master's.
yeah, in masters. Either you can change it to biotech or biochemistry. There were certain options. So I was like, well, after having this look at syllabus, that okay, all subjects were covered, especially like genetics and some other biotech field as well. So I was like, okay, why not go with the microbiology itself? And I got it more interested in my master's, so I continued with that.
University seems so good because you had like thesis and bachelor's. So you did honors, like
Yeah,
just honors or normal?
yeah, bachelor honors. Yeah, BSc honors, biotech.
BSc honors. But I think in DU there is no as such research experience. We can do internships with professors at DU for sure, but
Yeah.
in course there is no research project, I think. Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, so I think then that was the good part of my bachelor's, that there was option of doing bachelor thesis. I mean, it was not for long, but it was only for 3 months.
Yeah, but at least you got
So
research experience bit.
yeah, it was a wonderful experience because I mean, that's how I got more into research. That okay, research is interesting because within your bachelor's you are more into like just going through the exam, preparing for exam, and reading books and all these things, but you're not connected to let's lab work or real research. But when you're doing internship, even in internship also, especially in India, what during my time, what I've seen that people don't give that much, let's say, hands-on experience to internship students. So they will
Yeah,
just tell you that, okay, this is the concept or this is the principle behind that certain instrument, but you're not allowed to do any experiment or touch any instrument.
true. It is true.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the thing. But yeah, I was lucky that during my bachelor's, I did some experiments, not much, but at least some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least some research experience. We get to know
Yeah.
about it, right? Because
Yeah.
I remember my time, I was so confused. I was not sure I like chemistry or not.
Okay.
It was like that because theoretical, it was just going theoretical all the time. So now this was the part I wanted to discuss for the like common students. So
Mhm.
all students can listen to that. Now I will go to next phase of my discussion that is correlated to PhD. But before that,
Mhm.
what is the message would you like to give to 9th or 10th students, or let's say 11, 12 students? Because when I was in 10th and then 12th, I used to worry a lot. I had lack of knowledge. I was not sure where to go. So what message would you like to give?
Yeah, I mean, that's the phase where we are much more confused. So it is true because you are in dilemma whether to go in engineering. Let's say if you're a ninth or 10th standard student, so you are in dilemma that whether to go in mathematics, science, or commerce, or in which field. So for them, I would suggest to go with their interest. It's because you already figure it out that okay, what subject is much more interesting for you,
Yeah.
and if you are, let's say, reading that book or subject or studying that, and if you're not getting bored, that means that's the field where you would like to go for long term. So that you have to decide. Yeah, it is confusing, but yeah, you have to choose between that. That okay, what is much more interesting, and you can give several hours for that. Yeah.
Yeah, can you solve one question? Like, I remember when I was in 10th, I used to like maths a lot. So I wanted to go in
Mhm.
commerce. But that time when we get good marks, so people say you should go in science. But I used to like science as well a lot because yes, I used to go into science exhibitions. So I
Okay.
chose science, but I really liked it. So it was okay for me. But I was a bit confused because maths was like favorite subject. So people say if you're really good at mathematics and with numbers, you should go in commerce. So what do you say? What are your comments on it?
I mean, mathematics is something which can be used in any field. It's not only for let's say commerce or
Yeah.
science. Science means not only the engineering but also in biology. So there, yeah, it can be challenging to figure it out because see, when we are in our school, especially in ninth or 10th grade, so there is a lot of involvement of our parents as well. So they are also kind of uh, how to say they have certain percentage of deciding in your career as well.
Indeed.
So you have yeah, so you have to convince them that why this subject or that particular area is good for you.
Yeah.
So you have to convince them. Yeah, and also yeah, I don't know how to decide, but yeah,
It is really
it's a
tricky,
little bit
isn't it?
challenging.
Because after 12, there is an exam to choose engineering and doctor thing. But how can we so sure after just in 11th and 12th, I want to be engineer or doctor? Because it's very vast, I think.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, it is, and that's why I think some schools started this, especially in 11, 12, that if you're confused and you're not sure, then you can still have biology and mathematics together. It
yeah,
will be a
right.
little bit difficult, but okay, yeah. So, but in my school, it was not the option. I wanted to have mathematics as well, but I was not that good. And I was like, okay, yeah, then I will choose biology because let's say if if it is going to be more difficult or hard, then probably it's not good for me. So yeah, that's why I chose just the biology part.
So, okay, now let's talk about PhD finally. So I wanted to ask first that, like, how did you decide PhD? But you told earlier that you were so sure.
Yeah.
But still, one question, like, you knew that intent you want to do PhD, like somewhere in the future. But
Yeah.
did your bachelor's and master experience affected that? Like, it shaped that PhD thing and abroad thing also specifically.
Yes.